All right, let's go ahead and start, and hopefully more people will join in as we go.
Okay. So first of all, this will be though it's live now, it'll be recorded and it'll be able to be seen on Facebook later. So I'm going to introduce ourselves for those of you who do not know us. We are Cheryl and David Goldstein. We are originally from Dallas, Texas, but we have been full-timing since June of 2016. We use the name sometimes Landmark Adventures on our blog and on our Facebook group. That's because our fifth wheel is a Heartland landmark, so it's our Landmark Adventures. We are currently in Washington State at the Evergreen Coho Xscapers RV Park.
It's a mouthful.
And it is really, really lovely up here. Just shout out for the park, and if anybody's looking for a nice place to stay, it's really, really beautiful. And so that's where we are now. And as David said, our next journey is to head up to Alaska for the early part of the summer and then be back in Oregon for the Eclipse.
Yeah, so just a note on Facebook Live for those of you who may not have participated in a live video before. You can see us, but we can't see you, except for you over there in your pajamas. I see you, but no, just kidding. So we can't see you, but you can type comments to us in the live block on the Xscapers page, and we'll see them come up on our screen, and we will try to answer them and answer as many questions as we can. So we'll try to keep track of those. I assume we can scroll back through them, but I'm not sure. I knew it was you, Travis. See. So just a little bit about the Eclipse before we get into the Convergence itself. As you may have figured out, this total solar eclipse is a really big deal. First of all, because it's total. So that means that the shadow of the moon is going to completely obscure the sun's disk, leaving just a little perimeter and basically turn day into night. So people who have seen a total eclipse before say it really is something, it's a once-in-a-lifetime experience. They're relatively rare. They do happen periodically, but a lot of times they're over the open ocean or over unpopulated areas. This total solar eclipse is the first one that will have been visible from the United States mainland since 1979, and it's the first one that will be going all the way across the country. It's basically cutting a swath from northwest to southeast since 1918. So this is really something special, not something that you may have another chance to view anytime real soon.
Okay, I'm up next.
You're up next.
Okay, so some words and terms for everybody to understand, because there's a lot that's going on during this time period of August 17th through 22nd in Oregon. So first of all, the event itself is called SolarFest, and it is an event being put on in conjunction with NASA and the city of Madras, Oregon, and they're pulling out all the stops, and they're doing all kinds of really great things. There's going to be exhibits, there's going to be a music festival, there'll be hot air balloon rides. I think one of our Xscapers is involved and is going to be giving hot air balloon rides.
Not for free, I don't think.
And they're having some kind of a camping experience right there on the fairgrounds. They're doing some glamping, so you can just come on your own, and they'll give you a tent and sleeping bags and stuff. But they've also created an additional place for RVers that they're calling Solar Town, and it's 3 miles.
About 3 miles north.
It's about
of
3
Madras,
miles
yeah.
north of where the fair is actually being held, and that is going to be a place for the RVs to camp. It's boondocking, and there is a fee for it. It's going to be kind of expensive for boondocking, but this is a once-in-a-lifetime, opportunity, as David said. So Solar Town is the place where we are going to be camping. SolarFest is where all the events are happening, the festival. And there will be a shuttle that you can buy tickets for to drive you back and forth. Parking is going to be a nightmare. And so even though you may have a Toad or a vehicle that you can drive from place to place, there may or may not be places for you to park. So they are really recommending that everybody use this shuttle system. And as we get more information about it, we will share that. But right now, we know we have tickets for it because we know we're going to hopefully utilize it.
Yeah,
so you can buy those tickets ahead, and you can do that. So we knew we were attending this, and so we volunteered since Travis and Melanie were not able to be there at this event.
Though we're still hoping they will be, maybe.
Though they might,
Maybe.
yes. We are hoping, we decided that we wanted to go, and we would be happy to host a group of escapers who would be there. So we have been deemed emissaries, and along with Julie and Mark Bennett, we are hosting a convergence of escapers at Solar Town. So there's opportunities to do. Travis says maybe.
Yeah, I know.
So there'll be opportunities for you to do things with our group. You can certainly do whatever you want on your own. And then in addition, we're inviting people who may be in town for the solar eclipse to come, but not staying at Solar Town. They have friends in town. They've made arrangements to stay someplace else, or they're staying at the fairgrounds, to come join us, take the shuttle, and join us over in Solar Town for some of the activities that we're going to have. Those activities are going to include campfire when we arrive on Thursday night. The earliest you can arrive is Thursday at noon. We will be there. David will talk a minute about scouting out our spot. But Thursday night, once everybody is settled, we're going to have a campfire. Friday night, we have one of our fellow escapees, Valerie Coffey, is going to give us a little bit of a talk on astronomy and background. She was a astronomy professor and studied it as an undergraduate, so she's got some information that she can share, and we can ask each other questions and hopefully come up with some answers. On Saturday, we're going to have a potluck brunch in the morning, and then in the afternoon, some of us may be adventuresome and go out into Bend for a pub crawl. And then Sunday, anybody who wants to come with us, David and I are going to go to the festival itself on Sunday and see the exhibits and what's going on. And so we can go as a group if anybody would like to join us. And then Monday morning is the eclipse. It's early. It's 9:30.
It starts about 9:30.
9:30 in the morning. And then we've planned a potluck dinner for Monday night for anybody who wants to join us. And they really recommend that you don't try to leave Monday afternoon. I think it's going to be a little crazy. So spend the night, extra night. You've paid for it anyway. And we're going to have a potluck dinner on Monday, and then we'll all leave on Tuesday. So that's what we have planned. It's all kind of loosey-goosey, but there's just a few things so that we can get together. We may add some things to the schedule. We may not. But that's what we have so far.
We're keeping the schedule pretty light because, of course, everybody is there for the eclipse. And we also know that a lot of the Xscapers members do need to get some work in during the day. Speaking of which, I'll talk about connectivity, but connectivity is kind of questionable, so we'll talk about that here in a second. But we're going to have a couple of activities every day, a chance for us to get together. The potluck brunch was actually something we did at the Quartzite Convergence, kind of informally, and everybody loved it. So that's making a return appearance. And so we're going to have a lot of fun. You can do some of the activities. You can do all the activities. Totally up to you. Nobody's going to look at you crosswise if you don't show up for the pub crawl. Well, maybe for the pub crawl. But
and there's no fee.
And so you do need to be a member of Xscapers, or at least of escapees, to attend the convergence. But outside of that, there is no fee to attend the convergence. You're already paying plenty for the boondocking site. So the Xscapers is covering all the costs of the convergence itself. So just a few details about it. First of all, Cheryl mentioned it's August 17th, which is a Thursday, through August 22nd, which is a Tuesday. The eclipse is on Monday, August 21st. She talked a little bit about the traffic and Madras. Madras is a tiny town. It's in Central Oregon. The reason they're having it there, by the way, is the high desert of Oregon on the east side of the mountains has a very dry climate. And for that reason, especially in the summertime, there's the highest probability of anywhere in the country of nice clear skies to be able to see the eclipse. But the downside is Madras is a tiny town. It has about 350 hotel rooms. They've been sold out for about 2 years, and that's why we're doing this boondocking out in the field. And Julie's pointing out correctly, it will probably be pretty warm. Weather-wise, we've spent quite a bit of time in Central Oregon in the summertime. It could be anywhere from in the 80s to the 90s during the day, and then it cools off nicely at night. The dry air cools pretty quickly, and so you probably want a light jacket for the evenings.
And we might get to use our new propane.
We will definitely be using our propane campfire. That's right. But I've talked twice with the lady from the Jefferson County Department of Tourism, which is organizing the SolarFest event, and they're doing everything that they can to try to have the infrastructure as ready as they possibly can. But there's some things they won't be able to change. Highway 20, US 20, is the main highway through town. It's a two-lane road, and that's the main thoroughfare to get around between Madras and Redmond and Bend. So you can expect a lot of traffic. They are suggesting that if you plan to leave the SolarFest site, which you'll probably, or sorry, Solar Town, which you'll probably want to, that you get shuttle tickets. They'll be running a shuttle that runs continuously through a number of locations. Not a lot of details on that yet. You can buy that online when you buy your camping ticket. We do ask, even though it's free for Xscapers and escapees, that we ask that you register for it so that we know to expect you. Register even if you are not going to be staying at Solar Town. So we have a number of people who already had plans in various places near Madras, and they're very particular about how they pronounce it. And that's fine. We still ask that you register, and you can do that on the Xscapers website. Just find the page about the Convergence, and there's a link there to register.
And I just say there's some people who've joined us kind of mid-conversation here, and this, though we're live now, you'll be able to replay it later and catch the beginning on
That's
Facebook.
Right.
Hi, Bruce.
Bryce.
Sorry.
It's hard. It's in tiny type.
It's in really tiny type at the bottom. I have my glasses on.
So register on the Xscapers website. If you do need a campsite, they are still available as of a couple of days ago. They believe they're going to have plenty of boondocking site. That is a separate registration. You need to go to OregonSolarFest.org, and there is a link to it on the Convergence Facebook page, and you need to purchase your tickets there. Boondocking tickets are $300 for the 5 days. Probably the most expensive boondocking site you'll ever have, but again, there's just not a lot of other places to pick from right there. The advantage of where they've picked, Solar Town, is that it's a big farmer's field, but it is right in the middle of the path of totality for the eclipse. So unlike a lot of people who are going to need to go get in their cars and drive into the path because they're staying someplace away from it, you'll be able to step out of your RV and look up in the sky and see the eclipse, which I think will be great. Travis has just put into the comments the link to the registration site. Thank you, Travis. And there are some directions in there, whether you're registering for up to 2 adults or registering as a group. Make sure you choose the right option.
So there's 2 places to register. There's a register for your campsite, okay, and that's with the City of Oregon at
OregonSolarFest.org. Link on the webpage.
And then the second place to register is on the Xscapers Convergence page, so we know you're coming.
Yeah. So, and we're going to confirm with everybody by email to make sure that we know what kind of rig you have and make sure we know if you are or aren't camping. But we just need to have you on a list somewhere. Cheryl talked about arrival a little bit. They're still working out the logistics of how they're going to handle arrivals on Thursday. What we do know is that we will have everyone's barcoded ticket who's camping at Solar Town, and there are instructions on that. As long as you send it to us. And they've told us that although they're not reserving RV spots, a wagon master with all the tickets can arrive first, and they will reserve enough space for that group when the wagon master checks in. So that's going to be us. Julie and Mark are going to have a copy as backups just in case something happens, but we already have reservations to stay at a campground about 20 minutes from SolarFest for the 2 nights beforehand. And we're going to get there we're going to go over there the day before and scout it out, and if there's any last minute arrival tips, we will post them on the Facebook page. By the way, I keep talking about the Facebook page. It's the Xscapers Oregon Solar Convergence group. It's a closed group, but we will be happy to let you in. Just go to that page if you're not already a member and request to join, and we'll approve your request. And that's where we're posting all the information about SolarFest, or sorry, about the Convergence. You're allowed up to 8 people in an RV site. Kim, yes, we will. This will be posted. We'll post a link in the Convergence Facebook group, because it'll be on the Xscapers page. A couple people are having some difficulty with that, and there's the link to the SolarFest Convergence page. Thank you, Travis. Several people have asked if they can have more people in their RV because they've got friends or guests. In fact, our son is going to be coming up from Dallas to stay with us, and that's totally fine. There's a limit of 8 people per RV site. You can pitch a tent on your RV site without any additional charge, as long as the number of people isn't more than 8, and you can fit your RV, your tow vehicle, or your towed and your tent all into a 20 by 40 space. Tent sites, if you want to camp separately, are in a separate area of Solartown. You won't be right there with the group, but you will be walking distance away from the Convergence activities. It's just another part of Solartown. Tent camping sites are $150 for the 5 days. Solartown's providing all of the campground amenities. While it's dry camping, they're going to have water available on site, apparently delivered by trucks. They're going to have a honey wagon to do gray and black tank pump outs. There will be showers. There will be porta potties for toilets. So as far as we know, they're doing a pretty good job of making sure that all those things are taken care of. Let's see. Wood campfires are not going to be allowed, I guess because of fire danger in the summertime, but they will allow propane campfires that are raised up off the ground. So that's what was just delivered. If you were here at the beginning of the broadcast, ours just came a few minutes ago. And so we'll, I'm sure, have those out for the chilly evenings. I mentioned connectivity a few minutes ago, and this one's kind of a big concern, especially for those of us who are working. Madras, as I mentioned, is a really small town. They probably have 1 cell tower per carrier, and they're expecting to have tens of thousands of people in the area because this is NASA's official site. So you can do the math pretty easily and realize that the cell tower capacity will probably be just about nil. There is not any Wi-Fi at Solartown as far as we know, so connectivity should expect to be pretty limited. We have a pair of walkie-talkies that we use when we're parking in a tight spot. We'll have those. That might be a good thing to have on hand to keep in touch with the rest of your family. But as far as connectivity for working and so forth, then
might need to take a couple days off.
Yeah, I might need to take a couple days off. Bryce is asking if you can have more than 1 car if it fits in the 20 by 40 space. Answer to that is no. Your RV parking pass allows you your RV and 1 additional vehicle. They will be happy to sell you an additional parking space for another $75 for the 5 days. But it's, you know, that is what it is. So apparently they're going to be fairly strict on parking. One of the things we don't know is whether guests who are coming in will have someplace to park at SolarFest. I didn't ask her that when I talked to her last time. So we'll try and find that out sometime between now and August. But it sounds like the parking situation is going to be fairly tight, so they really are encouraging everybody to take the shuttle. Let's see. We talked about attending if you're somewhere else. Eclipse glasses. As you probably know, your mom told you don't ever look at the sun. The only time you can look directly at the sun with your naked eye is during the total portion of a total solar eclipse, when the moon completely blocks out the sun. But you're going to want to be looking at it before and after. This will unfold over a period of about 3 hours, and we'll gradually see the moon's shadow take a larger and larger bite out of the sun's disk. And while you're looking at the sun, you have to have protection for your eyes. So Xscapers will be providing all of the attendees with Eclipse glasses. We have 75 pairs of them waiting for us, and that will allow you to view the sun safely even when it's not totally covered. So you don't need to worry about buying Eclipse glasses. There's a great Eclipse reference site. You'll see it linked from the Facebook page that is eclipse2017.org, which is everything you could possibly want to know and probably a lot more than that about the Eclipse. And they are selling their glasses there. I wanted to let you know that you do not need to go buy Eclipse glasses.
Thanks to Melanie and Travis, we have enough for everybody.
Yep. So that's kind of what we wanted to cover. A couple of things to note. There is an FAQ document in the files section of the Facebook group page for the Convergence. And we'll be updating that periodically. We posted it just a few days ago, and it's basically all of the questions and answers that we know of at this point that either that we got off of the SolarFest website or that I got from talking to the organizers. If you have a question that's not answered, and you can find that by going to Files on the left side of the page if you're looking at it on your browser, and it's called Xscapers Solarfest Convergence FAQs. It's pretty obvious. So have a look at that. If there are questions that you have that aren't answered there, please post them in the group. We are monitoring that daily as much as possible. We're going to be in Alaska this summer, and so we may not have connectivity every single day, but we will be monitoring it whenever we can, and we will either answer the question if we know the answer, or we will find out for you sometime before the event. Let's see, what else can we talk about?
It's going to be great. We already have 43 people, or 44 people that are signed up to, Xscapers that are signed up to be part of the Convergence. Not everybody's staying together. We're trying to confirm who's staying and who's not, but we're going to have a bunch of rigs.
We'll have 15 to 20 rigs.
I think it'll be great. Yeah. I think it's going to be awesome. People are inviting their friends to come. So invite your friends and
invite them to join Xscapers, especially if they're not members at all or if they are escapees but still working. They will have such a great time at this Convergence, just like many of us did in Quartzsite earlier this year. Kim has a question: if I'm bringing more people in my rig, how do I register them? When you register, go to the register group link. And you'll put in, I haven't actually done this, but
you put in each of their names.
You put in each of their names over 2 people, and that way we'll know who all the people are.
Yeah, and I will contact you by email to confirm that I have the right people in the right group, so we don't overcount.
All right, thanks everybody, and thank you for all the nice comments. We're looking forward to seeing you in August. Miss you guys, but we'll send pictures from Alaska on landmarkadventures.net. All right, so long. Bye.